wrong one. Let's see. This one, Discord. Hey guys, how's it going? Hurley is working on her tail off. You have your exam on Thursday. Oh my goodness. Aw, MK's mom's in the ER. Aw. Twinkle's mom's been sick too. I believe she's back seeking medical help too. So got both of you. Aw. Stephanie, hey, you passed. Congratulations. Awesome, Stephanie. I'm so happy and proud of you. That's fantastic. I hope I made things a little bit easier for you guys. It's normal to be nervous, Beauty. Don't worry. You're going to do well. How's your notes? You got your codes sorted out, bundled together, your differences between your different individual words written out so you're ready to grab them if these particular codes are used. This is a fix, this is a foreign body, this is a removal, this is a restore, reshape it, this is a lesion. Those kind of things help out in preparing for your medical coding exam. And since your exam is open book, you get to put whatever you want in your books. But that is super helpful. You're going to take yours this summer. Awesome, Haley. I take my certification on 3/23. Any study recommendations? Exactly what I just said, pal, is having those one-word differences ready beside every single code is super helpful. Be sure when you're practicing exam questions also, don't forget that you need to look for headers. Is this question about a leg, or is this question about fingers and hands? Clear your headers before you look up your individual CPT code differences, because if two codes are underneath hand and two codes are underneath tibia and fibula, then you can quickly eliminate answers by looking for those headers. Hey Mills. Hey Go-Kart. Haley, thanks for the follow. I know you're nervous thinking about it, but don't worry, I'll prepare you. You'll be ready. How long until you get your results? Sometimes within a couple of hours. They're really fast usually, and some people it takes them 10 days. It just depends. You bought the guidelines today and you're having a hard time making sense of it. What is hard about it, my love? Let's see. If you've got the guidelines are in the front of your book, of your ICD-10 book, and all you have to do is copy exactly what I have written. If I have it highlighted, whatever. And it helps if you have the AAPC version of the book, because that's the one that I'm using. And so if you're looking at an example and the guideline is telling you that enteritis acute does not apply to a sub-entry as chronic, in this book, that particular diagnosis is on page 170. So you can go to 170 and you can see what exactly they're talking about that sub-entry not being there. And I've went to page 170 in my notes, made a copy for you, and so you can see enteritis. And what they're talking about is that it's acute, it's a non-essential modifier, and chronic is down here. So whatever the guideline's talking about, I've marked it up. Now if your book is a different version, I mean, you can spell enteritis, and all you got to do is go through your alphabetical index and find it on your own. It may be a different page number, but you can find it. It'll still be written out just like this one. It just may be on a different page number. And then in the guidelines, if I've highlighted it yellow, that means it's important. Of course, if it's red, it's usually very important information, or do not. Just anything that I've marked up is an important sentence that could be. This one right here, placeholders are characterized by the X. X is used as a placeholder. People are often asking me in the practice exam questions, why is there an X in that answer? Well, if you knew about your ICD-10 guidelines, you'd know that that is just a placeholder, and they tell you the definition there. And I've circled it and underlined it, and that's just something you need to know. And if you go through your book and look through some of these diagnosis codes, you'll find examples of where there's an X inside a diagnosis code, and you'll be able to see what an example of that looks like. So anything that's in the guideline that I've underlined, go find you an example of it in the book if I didn't put a page number on it too. If I start it, NEC might be on your exam. Not elsewhere classified, be sure you know where that means. NOS, not otherwise specified. Just knowing those differences is super helpful. If they had a guideline and it talked about a certain situation, then all I did was I wrote out the situation on the sidelines next to it that says what's going on in the sentence, that G20 will be first, and that F02 will be second. So I'm just taking and paraphrasing what's going on inside each paragraph next to it for you, and then underlining the important parts and putting page numbers down where answers are. Let's see, like this one, if we're talking about code also, what does code also look like in the guidelines? We can go to page 333 and we can see what code also looks like. But again, you can find it even if you have a different version of the book. You just have to find it on your own. It's not that bad of a deal. And then right there, I've highlighted it. See where it says see also epilepsy? That's exactly what they're talking about when they're talking about that guideline right there and what it looks like. So I'm just going through them, putting down page numbers, showing you what it looks like, and then paraphrasing what's inside the guideline. And you just can copy it into your ICD-10 guidelines and transfer all that into it. and then work on following each guideline and finding examples of what they're talking about in the book. What are they talking about when they're talking about codes that describe symptoms and signs? Well, they're talking about all the R section, right? ROO through R99. Those are all symptoms. So that's what's going on in them guidelines. I hope they're helpful. It takes a while. It's not something you can just read once and understand. You're going to have to play with those suckers for a while, for sure. But I hope they end up being helpful. Thank you guys for tapping the screen and sharing the live. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Go-Kart. And you probably are overtired. Don't stress. Oh, the ICD-10 example one, you got the other one? The other one is a list of ICD-10 practice exam questions and how I would answer them. And I go through pretty in depth about, what I'm looking for. Like, one of the first questions is, one answer might be L, and then another answer might be M, and then another answer C, might start off with an O. And I show you how I find the answers, and I type it out pretty thorough. First thing I do is go look at my chapter headings. Am I in a skin condition? Am I in an OB and delivery situation? What's going on with my patient? What brought them out the door today? That'll help me eliminate answers. And then other things that I show you in particular, like in the cancer section, I show you that they have headers here too, and they're in purple. So if your answer starts out with a COO to C96, we're talking about malignant neoplasms. Well, what if your answer is around a DO1 and a CO1? How do you find your differences? By looking for those purple headers, because the D's start out with in situ neoplasm, where the C's purple highlighter is a malignant neoplasm. So clear those headers. Are you in situ neoplasm, or are you in a malignancy? What does your question say? If it says neoplasm, then you know your answer is going to be in the D's, and then you can come over here. Usually helps you break them down and at least get the questions to a 50-50 shot pretty quickly. But I show you about how to clear the headers before you get down here to these individual codes. Also, I show you that if you're going to find any guidelines, you won't find it at DO2.3, diagnosis code. You won't know if there's a guideline here you need to worry about. Where you find them is at the DOO. There's all your guidelines. They tell you to use additional, don't use things with this. You have to stop at your first 3 digits first. See if there's any guidelines you need to worry about sometimes, and then you can move on down to that. But that's just a the ICD-10 thing is a bunch of ICD-10 practice exam questions, and then I show you how I go find the answers one by one. And they're usually questions that are always asked, like you're going to get the ones about anemia with cancer. Which one goes first? Is it cancer first or anemia first? What are you going to do? Then it has practice questions on the adverse effect, the mental health, the burn patients, the baseball injuries, stuff like that. Routine questions that are usually always on the exam. I go over and show you how I do them. You have 5 weeks left of your coding course and can't wait to take your test. Awesome, Madeline. I hope you do well. Tricia, thank you for the follow. I'm trying to catch up with chat, y'all. Yep, you have to make a 70 or above. Yes, it's okay to use the 2023 notes. I am working diligently to get done with all of 2024. I've got a lot of the chapters done and posted, but of course I don't have all of them done yet. It usually takes me a long time to get them all done. And that's what we're working on right now is our 2024 nervous system. There's not a lot of new codes for ICD or for CPT or ICD-10 really for this year compared to most years. We're doing really well. There's not anything that you would really miss. Like the whole musculoskeletal section only has 4 new codes. Respiratory only has 2 new codes. Cardio does have 8 new codes, but still, it's very, very reasonable. Urinary, there's only 1 new code, but I've already done that section. The female reproduction only has 1 new code. The nervous section only has 3 new codes, but not that big of a deal. Eyes only has 1 new code, so you can tell there's not a big difference. It's just I do update them every year and try to add more value each year as they come, you know, to make sure that I compare what I wrote last year to what people are getting answer-wise or how well they're scoring on their certification exams, if they're passing or not. A lot of people give me a lot of feedback about what worked for them, what didn't, and then I adjust my notes every year based off that. So what we're working on here in the nervous system, if I could get this camera to focus on anything, the first thing I like to do is find any CPT codes with a bracket in it, and then I highlight what's in the bracket, because what is often on the exam and inside as part of the exam question is usually what's inside of a bracket, because there are AKA terms. So if there is anything like that, I do that. Come on, camera. Focus. And then if a code has a without, that it is without something like this very first one up here. I'm on code 61535. It's a removal of an epidural electrode array, and it says without excision of cerebral tissue. Well, I'm going to get rid of those words, excision, cerebral tissue, because I don't need that in my life right there next to that CPT code number, because I want to quickly go from one code to the other and know my differences, and I don't want to have to think about what I have to get rid of out of that descriptor. So we're going to put one line through it. That's the proper medical way of correcting a chart or something. You draw one line through it in a medical way. So this one too, our 61537, is also a without, but the without word is way over here, And next to the number, it says electrography during surgery. And you might think, if you're moving really fast, that this includes your electrography. But unless you draw a line through it, you have 120 seconds per question to get the answer and move on to your next question. Just getting to the codes and finding them is challenge enough, much less trying to figure out which ones are with or without something. So we'll go through here and fix these. This one is without also. Get rid of that. That makes things very clear with just a quick visual that we don't have those things inside these descriptors, and they shouldn't even be mentioned. I think it makes my life easier. I'm still coughing. I still have cough drops in my mouth, so if you hear a lot of that going on, I'm sorry. Alright. And then we got this in a bracket, cloverleaf skull. Anything else? Oh. We have some do nots, I think. I think. Somewhere on this page, somewhere. Yep. Right here. So these are super helpful to mark before your exam because they remind you to check your answers, and if you have a possible answer that takes 61548 and adds it to a 69990, which is our microscope, that we cannot do that. My notes this year are going to include the codes marked that you can use your microscope with. A lot of times it's hard to know whether a microscope is already included in a procedure or not. I found a list of nervous system codes that actually you can use with a microscope. So I've marked those this year. So that's going to be a new addition for 2024. Here we go. I'm a terrible test taker too. Hey Marie, thanks for the follow. Hey Twinkle. You didn't even have the new books yet. Good gracious. Oh, I'm sorry about your dad, Riss. I missed mine. Lost him in 2013, and I still think about him every day. I miss my dad. We will do lots of practice exam questions. We're going to do some on Tuesday. Tomorrow we'll be on YouTube. Yes, yes, yes. EJ, thanks for the follow. Ashley, thanks for the follow. Well, Beauty, whatever you bought, it's a little, I mean, you're taking your exam on Thursday. Don't stress. Those practice exam questions are more valuable to you than a whole list of guidelines. There's no way you could copy and highlight all those guidelines in the front of the book and learn that before Thursday anyway. What you did purchase is practice exam questions, and that's what you should be solely focused on anyway. You need to be doing no more note taking. You need to be practicing exam questions every day, trying to get a good score on and practicing getting to all the codes in all three books. Just getting to the codes, finding the answers, getting to where you need to be, and then picking out the correct answer and And I would give yourself like 110 seconds, back it up so that you have extra time during the real exam for exam questions that will take you longer. You really need to practice those. So what you bought, I think, is much better than buying the guidelines at this date and time anyway. Kanisha, let's see, I was just looking at your site. Oh yeah, about the 2023. That's perfectly fine. Place of service guidelines for 16112. 96112. Let's see. There is some guidelines, but assessment test assessment for aphasia and cognitive and interpretation and all that stuff. Is there anything in particular? I mean, let's see. Administer the test writing or orally. Let's see, before reporting 16112, verify supporting documentation. We got to have your test interpretation score and discussion. Provider must use a standardized tool. Yeah. Don't count time, effort in developing the test. Yeah. It says you may append a 59 modifier to it if you used and did a same-day E&M service. For an additional 30 minutes, you can add the 96113. Place of service. Let's see. I don't know. What I have at work, I can look up what revenue codes, ICD-10s, HIPICs, and RX codes that can go with it, but I don't know about place of service codes. But, I don't do billing at my office. Let's see. We can do 51 modifier, 50, 80, 62, 66, 81, 82, and PS. It can be a practitioner service. It can be, a facility service too. Oh. There are plenty of coding alerts and survival guides with it, but I don't have access to those. I don't know about a place of service code, but I can look up diagnosis codes that would go with it. Oh, what about the edits? Nothing in particular there. Standard medical practice services. Medicare doesn't allow the T code to go with it. Not helpful. Unlikely edits. Nothing there for me. Yeah, I don't know anything about the PO, place of service. It's not saying anything to me in my work thing about it. Sorry. Pocket Prep, if y'all love Pocket Prep. Yes, if you want access to 750 practice exam questions with AAPC, we can do Pocket Prep. Let me grab the link for you guys. On my website, medicalcodingbyjen.com, I have a big Pocket Prep banner thingy, but it also is super helpful for you guys, because if you click the link that's on my website, we will get 15% of your subscription price back to us, which we can give out as YouTube subscriptions, which is really great. Where's the link page? There it is. And I'll put the link in the TikTok chat. Sometimes it doesn't show up, but at least it's there. But if you do go to medicalcodingbyjen.com, there's a big yellow Join Pocket Prep link, and that's the same thing. If you use the link, we do get a percentage back. But I've been promoting them for 3 years now. I've not had a problem with them. I did correct one of their questions this week. I sent them an email about the one we did last week. The nervous, what was that? It was they had a shoulder being repaired when we were working on a knee. So this question about the 2-2, their answer is a 2-2, but I think it's supposed to be a 7-7. They even mentioned in the rationale that it should be a 29875, but the answer shows it being a 22. I did write them and ask them to correct that question, so they're working on it right now. And we can go through some more of those questions tomorrow, but they're really good questions. They're in the same format as the AAPC practice exam. It doesn't differ from the practice exams questions at all that AAPC gives you. They're exactly the same. They're multiple choice. They have rationale, and Pocket Prep actually tells you what page numbers the answers are on if you have AAPC's versions of the ICD-10 and HIPICS. But the CPT pages are correct for everybody. I don't do CMS 1500 classes, but CMS has some classes on it. Let me get you the link for it. If you go to CMS Government, so cms.gov, Outreach and Education Medicare Learning Network, MLN, M as in Michael, Lynn, LN, products and web-based training. They have free training, and some of their training alternates, and there might be a CMS 1500 training on there. Let's see what they got right now. Right now they have LGBTQI and patients. They have the World of Medicare, Learning Fundamentals and Beneficiaries, Eligibility and Enrollment Benefits, and the Role of Providers, Understanding Medicare's Part A, B, C, and D, and how Medicap and other insurance programs work. They have that class. They do have a 90-minute class actually on Medicare 837P form and the CMS 1500 form. It's 90 hours where you will learn the professional claims requirements and claims processing action and how to identify aspects of paper and electronic claims. They also have a free certification on CMS 1450 forms and data validation. So check out that link that I just put in there. It's completely free. Those links are also available on my website under resources at medicalcodingbyjen.com. You can go there, log on, go to the resource tab, and I have all those links listed there in addition. And with CMS, you do get a certification, and if you do take their course, and it's usually, unlimited amounts of retake on the course, and you can pass, so it's not that big of a deal, and it's great, and you can add that to your resume for sure. You're welcome. Yes, don't forget to join our Discord group. Absolutely, it is super helpful. I even have a practice area on my website with practice exam questions. I added a new one today. I'm playing around with writing some code for the website, but there's 3 flashcard exams underneath the practice area and then 3 practice questions on the main page, but the flashcard quizzes probably equal up to about, I don't know, 40 questions. So we've got almost 50 up so far. I'm working on adding more. If you click on the tab that says Discord on my website, you'll find a Q&A down at the bottom of the page that says, where do I find practice exam questions? Where are the free workshops? What is the best information for finding code information? What is the best list of free resources? That's the best one to click on. It's got all the list of everything, like my CMS outreach program, the free grant program through Pocket Prep, the free scholarship through AAPC, the free monthly magazine from AAPC, tons of resources there. So be sure and check that out. It's all free for you guys. Don't get into my website and just click around. Find all the stuff you can. 1535. Let's get down to individually prepping these codes so that when I download this, let's see, this code indicates a separate procedure, meaning you cannot report it separately with related procedures. If it is performed separately and it's unrelated, you have to append a 59 modifier with this one. Let's see. And this one's just going to be a removal, and we're just removing an electrode. Yeah. Removals. Do I have a color for removal? I have an underline color. My kid to tone it down a little bit. Turn it off, Travis. James, turn it down. It's sacred time. It's distracting. Travis, get off of YouTube.
I'm dancing.
I don't care. You are not. You're just sitting there watching YouTube. I know. On my live, and I said you were not going to do it. And I asked you not to. And I've been telling you to hurry up. And you're just yelling at me. I told you no. No. I said no. No. Oh. All right. No YouTube. I turn into vegetables. All right. This one's just going to be an array. Removal of an array, which is just an electrode. The other one is going to be an excision. So the next one is an excision, and what they're removing is a particular part of the brain that is causing a seizure, right? What color do we make? We make excisions are orange. So my excisions get colored orange, and this is just going to be called this is $37. No, yeah, it's not free, and you don't need it before you don't get Codify thinking it's going to help you pass your medical coding certification exam. It's the bare bones basics of any information, and it's what it's showing you isn't going to help you pass your medical coding exam for sure. You can buy an online CPT book from VitaSource. And if you purchase your books from AAPC, they give you an automatic code where you can log on and utilize the online book if you want to. But they're not allowing you to take exams with those yet. So, all right, for 37. This test, 37, is used to locate the origin spot of a seizure. Yeah, and this one's temporal lobe. Temporal lobe. You're prepping for your AHIMA RHIT in June. Do you have a study guide for that? I do. In our Discord study group, if you download the Discord app, you sign up for your own account, you come to my website, and you join our free Discord group, it will toss you into Medical Coding by Jen Discord group, and I have all these rooms, and one of these rooms is for RHIT right there. You guys, I've put in a bunch of practice exam questions in here with rationales and answers. You guys have a study room. Y'all can go in and talk to each other and discuss things. Yep. There, Mies. There we are. So, super helpful. You guys have your own room. CCS, CANPC, CPMA, COC, CCA, CRC. Everybody has their own room. There's also practice rooms for regular questions, what to expect on exam day, and even a room where we have CIC or cases are in here too somewhere. So yeah, there's practice exam cases too. So super helpful. Discord is great. We got tons of info. You can scroll back 2 years and see 2 years worth of information. It just keeps going forever and ever. lots of help in these. Some of these cases are big, but I put dividers in them so you know where the next case starts. So that's kind of helpful. But anyway, y'all gotta join. It's completely free. It's our Discord group. It's free for you guys. You can do searches inside that Discord group where you can search a particular question you want to ask. I'm sure somebody else has asked the question, and then the answer will be in there. Super helpful. All right, what's going on in 3.8? This one comes with the ECOG. They call that an ECOG. It's just recording the electrical activity of the brain to pinpoint the seizure site. And our 39. This one defines an area. This one's total removal. That one's not going right dark enough. Not at all. And then the next one. Transection. That one we're cutting into nerves. Dissecting those in that procedure. And this removes a whole hemisphere. It's our next one. This one is we're going to use heat to destroy nerves. Next one. Craniopharyngioma near the pituitary, hypothalamus, remove bone. Yep, this is near the pituitary. Yeah, I think it's a great profession to get into. Which certification is best? 2 certifications. 2 of them. It doesn't matter which 2 you get. I like AAPCs because you get 2 attempts at each exam, where with AHIMA you got 1 attempt, and then for the same price, and then you got to buy another attempt. With AAPC, there's no restrictions. You can buy another attempt or whatever as many times as you want. With AHIMA, you got to wait 90 days before you attempt again. AHIMA is a nonprofit, but AAPC does give you the 2 attempts for the same price. So that's why I went with AAPC. Both are recognized by employers, but I think AAPC does do a little bit better job marketing-wise to employers. But, you know, they're both neck and neck as far as employers go. I think it's a good idea to back up your certificate with a second certificate like CRC, a CPMA, anything in E&M compliance, family practice, doesn't matter. AAPC has a million of certificates. They have specialties. But I think it's great to have 2 certificates. It bolsters your income and makes your hireability a lot better, and better income too. I use big intensity markers. You can use whatever you want, but I do recommend a 0.4 tip on the end because they're tinier. Don't get a roller ball pen because you don't want to put pressure on paper when you're writing in the book. You want it to start writing even if you're barely on the paper. Because if you have to use a rolly ball, then you're going to see through these pieces of paper of what you wrote on the opposite side. So these are brand new. You want a quick drying ink too that won't smear like this one did, because you're going to be constantly going over this. So you want something that's quick drying. I've used these from Amazon too. They're fine. 0.4 fine liner color pens. They come in a packet of 100 and they've worked just fine too. So whatever. These are $5 on Amazon with free shipping. So you can use whatever you want. Where are we at? When you get a copy of my notes, if you purchase them, you get the color codes that go along with it, so that tell you what the different color codes are. You can come up with your own color coding scheme, whatever you want to do. Totally up to you. If something is like a single item thing, I usually make it a yellow, and then when it's multiple, I usually make it orange, those kind of things. If it's initial procedure, it's usually yellow. If it's subsequent, the second repeat procedure, then it's usually orange, those kind of things. You can do anything you want. Excisions are orange. Did I have another excision? Yep, I did. I had another excision right here. Excision, excisions. It's just something that means something to me. That way I know all the oranges on this page are all excisions. I know that single or multiple or initial or subsequent, those kind of things stand out to me, that are often on the exam. I can figure out which ones are which, that kind of stuff. Is there anything else that super... Oh yeah, if it's opened or closed procedure, I often mark those differently with circles. Let's see. Am I musculoskeletal? No, it's respiratory. Musculoskeletal. I'll have some of those. Yeah, like this. If it's a closed procedure, meaning we're doing it without cutting open into the body and fixing the bone, then it's circled in orange. If it's an open procedure where I used a scalpel and I'm looking in the body and actually looking at the bone and repairing it, then I circle it in green. And I do those because a lot of times the codes are just the same. It's just the differences between whether it's opened or closed. That kind of stuff I mark up, which is helpful, I think. I like to look at a page and know already what's going on by the colors, by the little colors. Excision, excision. Sutures could get a different color. If it's just a suture, then it's one color. If it's an excision, it's another color. That's super helpful. And then a graft would get a different color. Graft, sutures, and excisions. That way you can separate them in your head really fast. Makes a big difference, I think. But it's tedious, a little bit of work for sure. But it makes the exam a whole lot easier. Alright, remove skull. Yeah. Which number are we at? We're on 46. 46 is intra. What color is my intra? Intra is pink. So some procedures are intra. Some of them are infra with an F instead of a T. And then some of them are extra with an E. So I mark those differences. That's inside approach. We're in the body and we're already in the brain and we're going in the cranium.